Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good afternoon.
Happy New Year's Eve. This is a very special episode for us.
Yes, a kind of spur-of-the-moment podcast, as we have told all of our Good Morning Hospitality listeners that our last episode was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, right before Christmas. So I think it was I'm gonna be real bad. I think it's like the 16th.
Can't keep us out long. You can't keep us out. And there's been a lot of crazy news stories.
Too much. The moment we announced it, it was like, oh, all these news stories came out. I was like, what the heck?
and obviously one shakes up the short-term rental industry more than anything else. And we'll cover a lot more on Monday. But a huge congrats to Mr. Steve Schwab, a legend in the space, founder of Casago, acquiring Vacasa. And that was announced yesterday. There couldn't be a better person for the job to take over than Steve. Truly a wonderful human. Anybody who's been around him knows and feels the authenticity right away. So sure. I'm super pumped for Steve as a human, but this is a good result for the industry at large, because Vacasa has kind of been a drag on the industry for a while. From a public standpoint, it's lost so much of its value. I think it IPO'd between 3 and 4 billion, and Steve picked it up at 128 million, if I'm remembering correctly, $5.02 per share. So
correct. It's
a huge day yesterday. We should have jumped on yesterday, but travel schedules got in the way. And most excitingly, we're going to have Steve on as soon as some of the red tape is cleared up. So we're excited to be the first interview live with Steve as soon as that's available.
Yeah, we have obviously Vacasa is a publicly traded company still at the moment. And so we have some red tape that has to be torn down first. But at the end of the day, getting to talk to Steve and the team, it was a big, exciting day yesterday. The phones were blowing up. Our GMH thread was going crazy. And it was just great to see the news, as we've talked about this so many times on the show. And the nice thing is like we get to really see this play out. And I think, Michael, from kind of the sentiment that I've been getting at the end of the year for 2024 and the vibe going into 2025 is, I think it's just so refreshing to see, A, like you said, a good player like Steve and Casago come in and grab this. But then B, I think the industry is just so excited for someone to do well on a big main stage, kind of like what Vacasa has been on. Now, obviously, Casago is going to take it private, I believe, from what we saw in the Skift article, which I'll link in the show notes for the listeners as well, so you guys can see what we're seeing. But I think it's a big opportunity to finally have what we talked about on the show, which is Vacasa go private. They don't have to build or rebuild basically in public with all the scrutiny and the magnifying glasses on them. And now they have, the whole team, whoever stays on and however Casago decides to wrap this up, it really is going to be the opportunity of the lifetime for a 5,000 unit property management franchise company to acquire a 40,000 unit publicly traded management company and now really make something, hopefully. And Michael, I know you have a really good point to this, but prove that a new model like this could actually work.
Yeah. And first and foremost, Steve's at almost every conference. Casago is built its brand slowly. They haven't taken outside funding until yesterday. It's
Yeah.
been his legacy. He's worked on it for 20 years. Going to the industry conferences years ago, Vacasa was everywhere.
Mhm.
But the past few years, it couldn't be found anywhere. And, publicly traded, scrutinizing every penny that goes out. But when
Yeah.
the biggest company in the space is insular, it's not good. It's not
Mhm.
good for the growth and the development of the space at large. And what we've seen, through the past 20 years, Resort Quest was a huge national brand. They got bought out by Wyndham. Wyndham was a huge national brand. They got bought out by Vacasa. Vacasa, a huge national brand. None of them seemed to be able to make it work, but it was always the same model.
Mhm.
And now Casago coming to it with a local ownership approach, a franchise approach, with central ops and branding and distribution and whatnot. That's a huge shift not a huge shift. It's a subtle shift, but it's a big difference in terms of local ownership and belief and empowerment of the local operator themselves.
Mhm.
And it's more akin to a Remax, right? Big national brand, but each individual office owns that office. They own the P&L and they get the benefits of being part of something that's much bigger than them. So I love that it's not the same old story time and time again. I love the Casago approach. We've talked about it many times on the show, the franchise route and how we think that's the future. And, there's people putting a lot of money that seem to think we're right, that is the future. So again, huge kudos to Steve for pulling this together. I can't imagine all of the all of the stuff that's going to have to happen now when you go from 5,000 to 45,000 homes and acquire a publicly traded company and all the tech, back and forth. But they're starting to assemble quite a good team as well. Saw that John Banzak, the founder of Turnkey, is now the COO. Carlos Corzo was the founder of Streamline, so he's the CTO. So they're putting together quite a good dream team over there. And if anybody can pull it off, it's going to be Steve and the team that he's pulling together around him.
Well, yeah, and the cool thing is too, with the team that he's assembling, there's prior experience not only with Vacasa but the industry and the tech and all the stuff that's going to go in. So I think it's really, really cool. And as much of this is the big story of 2024/2025, I'm going to claim that title. This is probably going to be the end story that next year when we revisit and do our recaps and our highlights, like this will be still number one. But I don't think it really hit me until kind of yesterday going through the story and seeing the announcement how much of a real undertaking this is going to be. And so as much as excitement there is around this, just know for the listeners, like if you're like me, it's exciting, but there's so much that's got to happen and it's going to play out pretty, I would say, slowly. I'm not expecting anything to happen super, super fast. So this is going to be an ongoing story that this year we're really going to have to be following. And I'm sure, Steve is going to be on the podcast multiple times. And for the listeners, just an FYI, we're going to try to avoid doing many interviews in the future. We definitely want to stick to news. And so stuff like this is going to be really impactful. So following the journey with Steve this year and Casago and kind of what's happened or what's going to happen is going to be really crucial, I think, for the industry, because we can also take note. I think the cool thing about this is people like Steve share the ups and downs. They're going to go into the details on some stuff, which will help the rest of the industry who listens and can apply that to their business as well. So I'm really excited to continue to follow along. And I know Brandy is probably listening. We kind of did this last minute just to get this out, but and to really share that Steve is joining the show as soon as possible. But yeah, I just know there's so much for all of us to talk about when the new year officially comes back. So January 6th, I swear for everyone, like come prepared. And it might be a little bit more than 30-minute long episode.
And one more point, Steve's putting a team around him, but Steve's had a great team. Their employees
100%.
are loyal. They stick around. So kudos to the entire team. This isn't everything moving forward. The team built this, and Steve will be the first one to tell you that. So if you've been a part of the Casago journey from day one or even last year and onward, you're a big part of why this is coming together. And I don't think that when news like this breaks, it's easy to get caught up in the hype, but it's the people in those local markets, it's the local franchisees, it's the ops and the cleaning staff and all of that, all the way down, that make something like this possible. And that's why a company like Casago with 5,000 units can buy such a big company, is because they do have this systems in place to be able to grow. So don't want that to go unacknowledged, because I think that's a big important thing. And it's easy to praise the leader, and Steve definitely deserves it, but the team as well. It's Steve can't do it all by himself, and you guys have done a great job.
Shout out Katrina and Jennifer and a lot of the franchise owners that are going to be making this all possible. Big fans. So had a lot of them on my show, Slick Talk, and obviously we all get to see them at conferences. So really exciting stuff. So Michael, this is it. This is our quick 10-minute episode, letting the industry know what's going on. A little impromptu end of the year. Happy New Year's Eve, my friend. And for all of our listeners, happy New Year's to you. We're so excited for 2025 and to what the year is going to hold. So until then, we'll see you guys when we're first back January 6th with the full crew. Maybe not full. I think it's just Brandy. But anyways, either way, we're back on Monday, the best day of the week. So we'll see you guys all then.
Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.